Audrey has a natural talent. I think you're really going to enjoy her. She has natural talent. She has some very unusual stories. And she has recently added a tremendous amount of focus to her storytelling. So let's welcome Audrey Mason. Yes.
Jesus Christ! I told them to get a goddamn lawyer! That was my father's reaction to finding out that my cousin Scotty, who was 6 years old, was dead. For you to understand why he would have that reaction, let me step you back and tell you a little bit more, a little background. My Aunt Norma just graduated from high school when she met and married a man who was charming and attentive, and she fell madly in love with him. She left her parents' house and moved in with him. They very quickly had children. His attentiveness grew into something much darker, much more controlling. And his charm had a darker side, a cutting, cruel edge. Always judging, always critiquing her clothes, her hair, how much weight she had. It was never right. My mother told me that she didn't go to see her sister very often because her husband would take flour every day before he left for work, and he would pour flour around the entire perimeter of the house. So he would know if either she came in or anyone came to see her. Finally, after years of verbal abuse and control, she somehow got the wherewithal to leave him. And she did. She went and she took her two sons and she went to her parents' house, my Meme and Pepe's house. He came to visit. He told her that he was here to get his family back. And if he couldn't get his family back, no one would have his family. And with that, he took out a shot-off shotgun that he had hidden next to his leg. And he was ready to kill them all. My Meme somehow saw this coming, pounced on him, got the gun from him, sat on, she was a big lady, sat on him, and waited for the police to come. They were duly impressed that a 60-year-old lady was sitting on this man. But they also said they were darn lucky. He meant it, one of the cops said. So she got a restraining order, and she kept him away from the house, and she had sole custody of the children. Temporary. Slowly, that charming part of him came back, and he charmed his way back towards her, and he convinced her to let him spend time with his sons. I love my boys. Please let me be with my sons. She gave in. She let him. When he hadn't returned after about 3 or 4 hours later than they expected him to return, they started looking. And they found out he'd taken the boys, and he was on a road trip, and he was taking them to Tennessee to his parents' house. They called the police. The same policeman came. They knew what she was talking about. But they said, we're really sorry, but he's already left Massachusetts. We can't get him back. You'll have to sue in the courts. My father told them to get a lawyer. But Meme and Pepe, they said, no, we don't need a lawyer. The judge is good. Judges are kind men. Judges are thoughtful men. They'll know that boys need to be with their mothers. They would never give away these children. Well, unfortunately, the world isn't the way Meme and Pepe thought it was. And in fact, his parents ended up getting custody of the children. My aunt just sunk into a depression. She did nothing. For a year, this went on. She lived for the Sundays when her boys would call. They got more and more reserved as they spoke to their mother. And then one day, they got the call. The boys were in a car, and there was a horrible accident. And somehow a train hit the car, and little Scotty, the youngest one, was killed. Now you know why my father was so angry. Each one of us had our own reaction to that anger. I knew, even at 13, I knew, yeah, no, the world is not that simple. Of course, you have to fight for what you need to fight for. But darn it, it should be that way. It should be kind. It should let little boys be with their mothers. It shouldn't let women be bullied. My aunt just completely gave up. Meme and Pepe came to visit and said, all she'll do is read the dictionary. She just smokes cigarettes and reads the dictionary all day. We don't know what to do. They finally gave her there was a lawsuit about the train wreck because the train was not protected in a way that that accident shouldn't have happened. And there was a payout for little Scotty's death. And my aunt got that check. And my father said, thank heavens, now you've got the money. You can go fight, get your other boy. She said, I don't want that money. That's blood money. And as far as that other boy, he's just like his father. I don't want him either. That boy waited until he was 16 years old. His father told him the reason why he was taken away from his mother was crazy. And that thank heavens that he had the wherewithal to get him away, get the boys away from her. He came to his mother. He said, I don't believe it. Darn word that man says. I don't trust him. I don't believe anything he says. He says sneaky things. I don't believe him. He showed up at his mother's house. His mother did not see him. And when he did come in, her hair was all over the place. She just smoked cigarettes and just stared at him as if he was a total stranger. And he walked away. And he never came back. This is a tough story. Most of my stories have a silver lining. Most of my stories have a cheerful ending to them. This one doesn't. All this has is anger, fury, that the world could be this way. And sometimes, not every story has a silver lining. And sometimes, you just have to admit that all we have is righteous anger. Thank you.